Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Early History of Bigfoot. I'm your host, James Mallory, and today we're diving into the fascinating interplay between Bigfoot and 20th century media and pop culture. This episode is all about understanding how the legend of Bigfoot has woven itself into American and Canadian life from the 1880s through the 1960s. We'll explore an intriguing array of stories and accounts that have helped shape the cultural icon Bigfoot has become today, examining sensational news stories, films, documentaries, and regional folklore. So whether you're a seasoned cryptozoology enthusiast or simply curious about the myth of Bigfoot, get ready for an enlightening journey. To begin with, let's set the stage for the emergence of Bigfoot as a cultural icon. It might surprise some to learn that Bigfoot's roots in American and Canadian lore stretch back further than the 20th century. Tales of wild men in the woods date back to indigenous lore long before Europeans set foot on the continent. However, it was during the late 19th and early 20th centuries that Bigfoot began to surface in print, capturing the imagination of the public. Newspapers across the frontier were full of stories intended to thrill and frighten their readers, and tales of hairy giants lurking in the wilderness fit the bill perfectly. The media's role in popularizing the Bigfoot legend can't be overstated. Sensational news stories from the late 19th century to the 1960s were instrumental in boosting Bigfoot's image. These stories often wrote of encounters between locals and a mysterious man-like creature, varying in size but consistently described as covered in hair and haunting vast forested areas. Early journalists may have had varying motives, some perhaps genuinely intrigued by the prospect of an undiscovered species, while others were focused on selling papers with outlandish and thrilling tales. Whatever the motives, these articles helped thrust Bigfoot into public consciousness. A couple more notable published stories from the turn of the century include British Columbia's Wild Giant, reported by the Canadian newspaper Victoria Daily Times in 1901. It is a story from the Fraser River area of British Columbia, described a giant wild man covered in fur, standing over 8 feet tall, and reportedly seen by multiple First Nations people and settlers. It was said to leave enormous footprints and had been sighted moving swiftly through the dense forests. Some speculated it was connected to local indigenous legends of Sasquatch, and The Wild Man of the Woods, published in the Oregonian of Portland, Oregon, in 1904. The report from the Oregon wilderness described encounters with a hairy wild man terrorizing settlers near the Sixes River. Witnesses claimed the creature was over 6 feet tall, covered in dark hair, and walked upright like a human. Some believed it to be a lost miner, while others insisted it was an unknown species. The emergence of Bigfoot in mainstream media at the time wasn't just confined to the news. As cinema developed its narrative possibilities, Bigfoot became a subject of intrigue on the silver screen. Early films and documentaries played crucial roles in shaping public perception of Bigfoot, and they contributed significantly to its mythos. While not always adhering strictly to reported accounts, these films often used the idea of a wild, unclassifiable creature as metaphors for the broader tensions of the time, weaving Bigfoot into the fabric of American and Canadian narrative traditions. One cannot talk about Bigfoot in the media without discussing some notable eyewitness accounts that gained attention locally and nationally. Many stories told with earnest conviction by people who swore they had experienced a close encounter linger in the cultural landscape long after the initial news reports. One such famous story was told by Fred Beck and detailed in his book, I Fought the Ape Men of Mount St. Helens from 1924. In it, he describes one of the most famous Bigfoot stories from the early 20th century. This account tells of gold prospectors near Ape Canyon, Washington, who were reportedly attacked by a group of large, hairy, ape-like creatures. The creatures allegedly threw rocks at the men's cabin overnight, leading to a dramatic escape the next morning. The story gained widespread newspaper coverage. As stories like this proliferated, they began to serve as a kind of informal public record, reinforcing the idea that Bigfoot might be more than just a tall tale. These accounts, whether or not immediately proven, became integral in constructing the modern myth of Bigfoot and secured its place in our cultural narrative. It's interesting to explore how folklore and regional tales have solidified Bigfoot's place in American and Canadian culture. Across different parts of North America, Bigfoot narratives take on local flavors, reflecting regional idiosyncrasies and cultural histories. For instance, in the Pacific Northwest, stories of Sasquatch seem to be woven into the fabric of local storytelling traditions, whereas in the southern United States, tales of the skunk ape provide a different regional twist. These variations not only underscore Bigfoot's adaptability as a legend, but also highlight how local environments and cultures shape the stories we tell. Moving further into how these stories differ across regions, it's important to note that the narratives often reflect the values and fears of local communities. In rural areas, for example, Bigfoot can represent the unknown lurking in the forests, something both fascinating and frightening. Meanwhile, in more urban settings, Bigfoot might symbolize the untamed, natural world contrasting with the developed urban environment. These regional interpretations serve as a lens through which we can view broader cultural and societal attitudes towards nature and the untamed wilderness during different periods in history. As Bigfoot became more ingrained in popular culture, it began to unify and divide public opinion in unique ways. On the one hand, those who embraced the legend of Bigfoot became united in their appreciation for cryptozoology and the thrill of the unknown. These stories fostered a sense of camaraderie among enthusiasts. On the other hand, the fantastical nature of Bigfoot sparked skepticism and debate among the scientific community and the public at large. These differing opinions continue to fuel the narrative, ensuring Bigfoot remains a compelling topic of conversation. Reflecting on Bigfoot's sustained popularity, it's clear that media portrayal has helped elevate Bigfoot from obscurity to a persistent feature in our cultural landscape. As decades have passed, depictions of Bigfoot have evolved, often mirroring changing societal trends and technological advancements. For instance, Bigfoot's presence has expanded from film to television and now even enjoys life on the internet in meme culture, documentaries, and podcasts like the one you're listening to today. Looking beyond the 1960s, the relevance of Bigfoot remains remarkably strong in modern pop culture and grows each year. The legend has transcended its early limitations, becoming a symbol that continues to inspire exploration into the unknown. The combination of mystery and the enduring appeal of untamed wilderness ensures Bigfoot remains an enduring subject across a variety of media. Whether through the lens of a scientist, historian, or storyteller, Bigfoot narratives continue to captivate and inspire. They act as a testament to our enduring fascination with the mysteries our world still holds. In conclusion, the story of Bigfoot's intersection with 20th century media and pop culture tells us much about our collective psyche and fascination with the unexplained. It's a testament to the power of storytelling and its ability to shape our perceptions and beliefs. As we continue to uncover new stories and encounter new technologies, who knows what the next chapter in the Bigfoot legend might look like? Thanks for joining me, James Mallory, for this exploration of myth, media, and cultural identity. Be sure to tune in next time as we continue our journey through history, unraveling the stories of those who have walked among myths.